Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Avatar: The Way of Water spoiler cast. For a bit, I said, "Hey Bridget, do you want to watch Avatar 2 in a theater for no good reason?"
yeah, and for some reason, I guess I'm just like terminally addicted to bad bits. So I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go for it, buddy.
This one's a really bad bit. And I'm like, "Hey, do you want to spend 3 hours and 10 minutes?" But that's not true. We watched all of Avatar 1 yesterday. We've spent 6 hours on that planet. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not a planet, that is a moon over a planet. It's like the Star Wars Ewok planet that is a moon.
Oh, fucking Endor or something?
Yeah. Like that. So, before we get into the second one, what are your thoughts on Avatar 1?
I think that movie is generally pretty enjoyable. Like, it's not a movie I think about super often, and it doesn't, like, leave me with a lot to think about, but I'm not such a contrarian that I'm like, no, this is a bad movie, like, unilaterally. Like, no, that movie was perfectly fine, perfectly enjoyable, bit long, bit lethargic in its pacing, but it also had, like, the funniest villain. It also had, like, the funniest villain ever, so I forgave a lot for it just for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in a similar spot where I enjoyed that film, especially going back to it. I did not recall Quarch Military Man being the funniest character I've seen in weeks. It feels like he's moments away from saying some form of a slur in every scene that he shows up in Avatar 1. Yeah, they got to get the unobtainium in Avatar 1. It's very important. I feel like it'd be a shame if they created another random thing that is specific to that planet that is incredibly valuable.
That isn't called unobtainium, so it's
that was in a scene that may have been fine to cut. I've done a couple of things of research before the discussion begins. I looked at runtime.
Yep.
3 hours, 12 minutes. Avatar: The Way of Water. That's like, you could round it up to being like 30 minutes longer than the last one. Two other films I watched. RRR, Rise, Roar, Revolt. That's the Tollywood film that's really fantastic. 3 hours, 7 minutes, so it's longer than that.
Oh.
Someone earlier in chat tried to say almost as long as the Batman. The Batman is 2 hours and 56 minutes. It is not as long as Avatar 2.
It's longer than the Batman.
It is 16 minutes longer than the Batman. Your mileage may vary on whether or not you think it feels the length. In these other two movies, I did not feel it. I cannot say on this one just yet. I will give a brief summary that was percolating in my head as we were in the last 30 minutes of watching it. Jake Sully, the Rean Schwarzer of the Avatar series, is back on an exciting new adventure here in Avatar 2. Old villains are back in the dumbest way possible, and key characters die, and I don't think me and Bridget know their name.
Oh, no, I don't remember the kids' fucking names.
So Bridget, what did you think of Avatar 2?
You know how, like, in a Kingdom Hearts game, Nomura gives you this, like, really cool secret, like, 3-minute ending that's basically just telling you to trust the plan, and you do because it's really cool, and it's after a 30-hour game with a lot of cool shit in it.
Uh-huh.
What if that 3-minute secret ending telling you to trust the plan is instead 3 hours long? There wasn't a necessarily, like, substantial thing before that, and it's not satisfying on its own at all.
Yeah, but there's water though.
There was a lot of water.
So I came in and I was already poisoned because I already saw that you hated the movie before I got a chance to see it, which I was like, oh fuck me, oh no. I better not like it or this is going to be trouble. So I went into the film going, all right, let's see how it goes. And both Avatar films do this thing where at least a third, by design, nothing happens. You're just kind of like vibing in the world.
Yeah.
In the original, it's like learning about the forest. Here, it's like them learning to acclimate to the new water region, following the crux of the plot. But damn, man, that last act, I was gasping for air like I was drowning.
It was a lot. Okay,
Where I'm like, you're still going, dude.
I gotta say, just about that, I think they just kind of lost me at a certain point, because especially, like, the youngest daughter was in some sort of danger about 5 times or something, and I'm like, I gotta stop feeling the tension for her by, like, the 3rd time, you know? Like...
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to talk exactly about the 3rd act too much right at the front, but I think there was, like, 4 times they re-arrested the children.
Yes.
And I was like, come on!
It was cartoonish.
We're going in circles. It's like when you find someone who doesn't know to, like, eloquently bring about a point, and they kind of just start circling. And you're like, yeah, we've been here. I need us to... So they open this movie, and establish that, Jake Sully had 4 children in between films. That's impressive.
This movie had a weird fixation on showing a bunch of the blue people pregnant. I don't know what that, like, I don't know if there was something going on there, but
I never really noticed that. I did notice the one woman who was, like, constantly always pregnant. Yeah, 4.
Yes.
Yeah, there's, like, 4 kids in this. It's crazy. Then they establish what I think is the best part of the entire film. They establish what the villain of this movie is. It's
the same army man who comes back in the dumbest way I could possibly... We said that... I wanted people to know that when we watched Avatar 1 last night, we saw that guy die, and we were just like, how the fuck is he in this new one? There's literally no way.
Yeah, because they said they're getting Quaritch, that character, back despite him dying. And then they start the movie, and he's a blue guy, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is gonna be really stupid. Then he is now an Avatar blue Na'vi now, and then he watches a video of the actor of the original guy saying, now before we do the final battle of Avatar 1, the military told me to upload my memories and my personality onto a chip. So on the off chance I die, you can plug me in and I'm basically back, but you're not me. And that is their explanation.
I was sitting there like...
This was peak. No, that's not hack shit. That's peak fiction.
No, that's my favorite. That's like legitimately, I think, my favorite scene in the movie, just for comments that guy made, such as like, in the event that I will die in battle here, which I'm me, so that won't happen. But,
he's like, but it's not happening. But they're still making me do this, and he keeps like asking other people, what else am I fucking supposed to say to my blue clone? That knocked me on my ass immediately. Anytime he's on screen, I'm very much interested. They've added numerous characters to this world.
I don't remember a single name.
Well, they added the new character Spider, which is a white boy Tarzan-esque character that they very immediately say is Quaritch's son.
Yes.
That he just had in the first movie, but he wasn't allowed to like return to Earth because he was a baby and cryo sleep would have killed him. So he's like a part of the main character's gang. The main villain's son, because the main villain was dead for an amount of time, then became part of the main group of the scientists and our main characters. Very quickly, our main villain Quaritch gets his son back so that we can have him with scenes with him. There's a lot of fucking movie in this thing, dude. I don't know.
I think my general like problem, I guess, with this movie is that they put a lot of shit in here, and I'm assuming because James Cameron has this like 7 more movie plan or some shit, they like just resolve none of it, or like just
they had a chance. They had a chance. Then people were like, no, if we swim harder, we can make nothing resolve.
Like that bit with the commander and his kid like really stands out to me, because they had a couple scenes where it's like the kid doesn't really Spider, I guess, doesn't necessarily like his dad, but he's like growing attached to him in like a weird way because he still sees his dad in him.
I really was not ready. I didn't even predict it. Going through this movie of, oh, they brought back the old character. He's blue now. He even says to his son, "We aren't. I'm not your dad. I have all of his memories, but that's not me." I was not ready for what seemingly is going to be a multi-film arc of trying to make this guy redeemed.
Yeah,
because he is technically not the same guy.
Yeah, I guess just like it was just weird to me because like they have a couple scenes like sort of establishing the relationship, and then the hour chunk of like them vibing out with the water people happens, and the movie just like forgets about that entire plot beat for almost an hour and a half.
I did in fact go, yo, where is he? Where is he? Because the premise of the film, right, is that Quaritch is back. He's going to attempt to kill Jake Sully.
Yeah.
They have like one confrontation in the forest, and then that's enough for Jake Sully to go, we have to just leave or this entire village will die. So we're gonna go to the water tribes and like learn their ways, and that accounts for 80 to 90 minutes of this movie is them acclimating to that character development, other things. Sigourney Weaver is a teenager.
Yeah, she is.
She has a seizure at one point. There are, what would you call them, whalers? Because at some point, Quaritch needs to enlist the help of people that just harpoon space whales.
There's our harpoon space.
Yeah, because the whole idea is they have no idea where Jake Sully went. And only because Sigourney Weaver's character has a seizure and they call in backup from the old tribe is the only way the Quaritch is aware. Is like, why did a plane go that way?
It's kind of bizarre to me that it's like they just didn't like I don't know how far the search for Jake Sully went, but it must have not gone very far if like
they didn't really do anything. All he did was get control of one of the birds.
Yeah.
Which again, one of the better scenes in the film is Quaritch going, all right, I'll shoot down this bird. He's like, Jake Sully didn't do that. He's like, okay, I guess I'll take it out with my bare hands.
I guess that's where my main disappointment of the movie comes from, because I did genuinely like Quaritch is still like my favorite character from Avatar. He's still fucking funny as shit. And like,
he still nails it. Like when he does the first briefing after all of this happening, he goes, I know you have a big question. Why so blue? And I'm like, this fucking guy's so.
And it's like this was like my favorite aspect, like the shit with him and his son, and it's just like, all right, we gotta go do the water tribe shit. We're not going to
for 90 minutes. I feel like they got to teach the kids how to swim, how to use the different water animals, learn how to breathe underwater for extended periods. The entire subplot about the two sons of Jake Sully. The one that I don't remember the name of. The other one I also don't remember the name of, but is in more of the movie.
The older one and the younger one.
That is literally how you have to delineate it in that film, because I definitely did not fucking remember either of their names.
I did not remember either.
And like, as soon as one of them died, I went, Bridget is not gonna fucking know the name of this one, and neither am I.
No. I feel like there's like this undercurrent of like the older one being the more like proper respected warrior that like is I guess more appealing to their, but it really kind of, I think my problem, like, it really doesn't feel like it's put that much, there's that much emphasis placed on that until like literally they have the confrontation before they go out and the older one dies, where it's like, oh, dad always looked at you like more fondly than me, and it's like, oh, I feel like this could have been like more spread out throughout the movie. Like there's an undercurrent of it, but it feels very
there's
minimal.
a little bit throughout, like, you know, when one of them gets hurt in the opening thing, and then they start getting yelled at, and then there's just this constant thing of the younger brother feeling more ostracized and not listened to throughout the entire film, that they want to that they want to try and like pay off later.
The younger one really does kind of just feel like the main character in this movie, to be honest.
He meets the super whale. that is like an outcast whale because of misunderstandings that happen in the film. But thankfully, he climbs inside his mouth and sees his backstory by frauding. As you know, in the Avatar universe, they use their ponytail to jack into any animal or living thing to see things.
It's I felt so weird because it is probably the most like emotionally resonant and soundly put together part of that movie for me. But it's also, besides the spider stuff, obviously, but it's also like the connection, because like they're outcasts, but they're like outcasts for such different, like entirely different reasons that it feels a bit tenuous, I guess. Like it's a very kind of forced connection, I felt.
There is in fact too much story in this film.
Yeah.
There's like a lot going on. There's trying to make friends in this new village. There's like learning all of these things. There's conflict in it. There's conflict around it. That entire thing of, okay, Quaritch is working with whalers to be like, hey, we're gonna attack other marine life to get the attention of that tribe, so Jake Sully will go attack them. Which is really funny because Jake Sully's entire reaction is, we're not going to do that.
No.
Like if I kill you, you'll just send more military people. It will just continue to it will continue endlessly.
I was honestly like, I was kind of surprised at how much like those water tribes were willing to sacrifice for Jake Sully. I'm like, fuck, if I were in your situation, I'd be like, fuck it, here he is, here's Jake Sully. I'm not fucking sacrificing our people's homes for Jake Sully. Come on.
Yeah, before, I believe the premise of the original film was we need the unobtainium, and that's going to help us technology-wise to lift up Earth. That was my understanding. This one, they have now said what their new plan is to literally take over Pandora and then just move everyone there. Because there's been at least a year time skip since the last one.
They're just, like, they're straight up colonizing Pandora, which, if I'm not mistaken, by the end of this movie, is still happening. They did not, like, solve that even a little bit. Like, the humans are still, like, they didn't drive them out like they did at the end of the first one. Like, I'm assuming that that's just gonna be something for Avatar 3.
Yeah, they're gonna take over the planet that does, in fact, have an atmosphere toxic to humans, but we will ignore that. Technology changes. I'm sure they'll make domes, and everyone lives in the dome.
Anyone who can live. Oh my god, fucking. I also feel like mentioning, a lot of criticism, I guess, has been made of the first movie's approach to environmentalism being akin to something like Ferngully.
Uh-huh.
I feel like this movie is even less subtle. I think this goes a tier beyond when you literally have space whalers that are killing space whales. I'm like, all right, dude, I get it. Like, I understand.
The fact they're like, how are we gonna get through the water? We're gonna get space whalers that have robot crab mobile suits because water. They in fact they use military grade crab mechs in this. They harpoon one of the big whales, and then they climb in and get some juice out of its brain that's like solid gold. And they're like, "This is Amrita. If humans have this, they are immortal. Like they will just stop aging."
They will stop aging. Yeah, it stops the aging process. This is never again necessarily mentioned in the movie.
No, this is literally just explaining why this dude would do this. Why they're whaling at all, as opposed to why it matters for the film.
It's bizarre. Like, I get it, but, like, I feel like that's such an extreme plot point to throw out for just an explanation. It's like, okay, well, there's, like, some valuable stuff. There's, like, okay, these are, like, these weird exotic space whales. Like, of course, there'd be a lot of money in even just, like, their remains for, like, research or something. I don't know why he introduced that they give eternal life as a plot point. That feels like a bit extreme for a throwaway explanation.
I think it's really funny he does that, and he's like, this bottle we just got here, $80 million. I'm like, I feel like immortality should be worth more than $80 million.
Okay, thank God. I was also like, that seems low. That seems really low.
I was waiting for trillion to be said, and I'm like, wait a minute. What? Space inflation is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, no, it's going crazy over there. It's bizarre. I feel like, just as a comparison to the first, because we mentioned how the first movie also had this whole thing of like, you know, there's like basically an hour just kind of dedicated to like vibing out in the world. I feel like if I'm going to give the first one like some praise here, I feel like that was a lot better just paced and
it wasn't 90 minutes long.
Yeah, it was like you'd have a lot of scenes of it, but like, you know, in between you'd have scenes of Jake like recounting stories to the military, and like there's like a relationship between him and the main character girl I forgot the name of that's like developing. It felt like that there was like an integral plot reason. Here it just feels like everything before it got harched up for this fucking 90-minute chunk of just sitting here in the fucking water.
And full disclosure, I enjoyed this section for about 60 to 65%, maybe 70% of it, and then I just started getting tired.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot.
I feel like the main, like, genuinely I would be less mean to this movie if it was shorter. I fucking this this did not need to be this long is my main takeaway.
Yeah, I don't think it justified its runtime. I feel like if you could clip off like 30 minutes and this would be significantly better.
Yeah, for sure.
Just in general. But the movie, it has a lot going on, but the broad strokes of just this village got attacked. We're gonna move to this one. We're gonna learn its culture, integrate ourselves here. The bad guys, for some reason, will eventually find a way to get us to fight. They fight and then it ends, or in the movie's case, they fight, find some way to restart the fight again, and then it ends.
The fact that guy survived is like, I just kind of sat there going, what did we do all this for? What was the point?
Dude, people will leave if that dude doesn't show up again. I'm gonna be honest. He's very important. They have not built a better character yet. I did like the whaler dude who got it really bad in this film.
Was he meant to be British or Australian? Because I was so delirious by that point, I could believe either or.
Like the... One thing I will give the Avatar franchise is they make you watch 2 hours of that movie. And then they're like, here's the third act. Here's comical violence against random people.
When that whale, like, crashed in the ship and literally just flattened a bunch of dudes, that was funny as shit.
The giant whale that we've been shown throughout the movie jumps on top of a giant freighter and just starts crushing people. The main whaler that's clearly the evil-coded one, as opposed to the nice one that's just a marine biologist who clearly doesn't want to be there. They try to harpoon it, and they miss. But the string, like, catches around the whale, and it eventually ends with the whale being able to do a jump to get that same rope tied to their boat to start slicing it to pieces, and it pins the dude's arm. And I went, how are they going to solve this?
He got his fucking arm sliced off like he was a Bleach character. It
then hard cuts to him being launched with his arm and going in a completely other direction. I'm like, this almost made the entire film worth it.
Yeah, honestly.
I really love the violence that they do. Like, some people, like, break out of submarines and then they use, like, the underwater tentacles to, like, hold them there so they'll slowly drown while screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really enjoy a lot of stuff there, and the entire premise of the third act is Quarch on the boat saying, I've captured your children. Come forward, only you. And then the whale comes in, and then the battle starts, and they don't have to do that standoff. And then they do that for about 25-30 minutes, and then somehow there are still captured kids. Only some. They got some out, and then he said, come forward, we're doing it again.
They were fucking rotating capture children in that
They
first
were.
act. Like,
They keep putting like tape on them and like tying it to like the bar of the boat so they can't leave.
and it's like a different like at first it's like nearly all of them, then it's like a couple of like the guys, and then it's like all the girls next or something. It was
Yeah, because the guys
then-
get out, and the older brother is one of the ones that ends up getting killed by being shot.
I think the one that really got me was after they almost all basically got out. The youngest one just kind of slips in the hole, and the mother has to go after her. And I'm like, dude, come the
I
fuck
was
on.
going insane. I'm like, all right, we're starting the fight, the true final fight, but this freighter is sinking. Yes, the background music for the spoiler cast is the Pride Lands theme from KH2. I couldn't think of any music I could think to put in here that made any sense.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
fair enough.
So this freighter's sinking into the water, and like the water's like overtaking it, and the little girl gets sucked into the ship through a door. So they're like, okay, I guess 2 people have to be down there.
He really just like. This is another part of the movie where I'm just like, you could have cut this down to like 1 or 2 incidents, and I don't think much would have changed.
Yeah, yeah, it kind of feels like it stops and then they start over again, and I don't feel like they needed to start over again. I watch a lot of superhero films. This doesn't really happen. They usually
Yeah,
just kind of start and then they go until they're done. Here they start and stop like twice.
Okay. This is, again, I want to preface this. I don't think this is necessarily like a bad or like outright terrible movie or anything. I think this is an okay movie that got stretched out way beyond.
Mm.
James Cameron, hi. This was not the kind of movie you needed to act like you had the biggest nuts in the universe over.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that this is another one of those films of like, here's the real sentiment to knock out all of the other big budget movies that are also just CG things. And I went, man, this looks great, but also, dude, it's like fucking 3 hours and 10 minutes, dude.
It's 3 hours and 10 minutes. It's like, it genuinely feels like a... Someone in my reply said this, and I really kind of felt it. This felt like the movie equivalent of, like, those bits in, like, streaming shows where it's the big middle chunk where they're, like, just kind of setting shit up while not much progress is actually happening.
Yeah.
'Cause it felt like there was a lot of it. Like, not necessarily all of this, but there's a lot of stuff that just kind of felt like this is going to pay off really well in Avatar 7, trust me, signed James Cameron.
Also, since I mentioned, like, big budget superhero films, Avengers Endgame, 10 minutes shorter than this movie.
Are you fucking me? God,
3 hours
Jesus.
and 2 minutes was the runtime, and in that one, I'm like, there's a lot going on here with a lot of characters being built up. I keep thinking back to that interview where he's like, dude, fucking Captain America got 26 movies. Jake Sully needs more time. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Jake Sully has, like, nothing. But he's
Jake
cool. He's
Sully-
like green.
He's kind of like Green, though.
Dude, our family will be a fortress.
I felt like... It's funny that he said that, because I felt like they did not actually give Jake Sully that much in terms of, like, expanded characterization.
Yeah, now he's just, like, militaristic dad mode.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess that's probably more of a personality than he had last time, but it's not... I would not necessarily call this, like, an extreme expansion of his character in any meaningful way.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say his wife Neytiri got much in here. Besides, I'm angry. One of my sons is dead. I am now feral.
Yeah, she got
Or
nothing.
it just cuts to her
nothing
crying.
do. She cries.
I think she
like
cries
5
4 times. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're embarrassing Deku right now.
Oh my god! Jesus Christ!
I'm sorry. The thought crossed my head while I was watching.
That interview he did where he was like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about, like, you can go if you need to go take a piss break in Avatar 2. Don't worry, whatever you miss, you'll want to see on the second viewing again." I'm like,
No, I won't.
My guy, there are so many moments in this where you can go piss for 10 minutes straight and you would miss nothing of importance. What the fuck are you
Except that
talking
one,
about?
except the one throwaway line midway through the film where they're like, "Here's this fish you wear like a backpack with wings. It gives you oxygen," which is a linchpin to one part of the climax of the film.
I think I was so zoned out by that point in the climax that, like, when she started doing that, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore.
Yeah, they say it like one line from it, and then they're like, "Here, you hold this. This'll get you out of there safe."
And then she starts, like, fucking sending out butterflies that just save everyone, and then the movie ends, and I'm like...
Yeah, because they set up that Sigourney Weaver's daughter, who is a Na'vi, is like linked to Ea, which is the planet itself, or the god of the planet that was established in the first film. So she can she's way more in touch with things. I appreciated that one of her first lines in the movie is them saying that, what if Sigourney Weaver fucked the nerd from the first movie, and that's your dad? And she said, I would rather kill myself.
That was a pretty good line. I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did respect that.
I did have one extremely mean thought in the back of my head, like,
Ooh.
basically watching most scenes with her.
Uh-huh.
She would be the icon of the most extremely white bitches on Twitter.
Oh. Yes. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I saw that. I'm like, you are the you are and this is not to slight at, like, anyone I know. I feel like I'm, like, basic beyond people that I know. Like, there was something about her that just screamed, this is bait for, like, some fucking 20-year-old who really likes, like, some 20-year-old white bitch who really likes Avatar.
This is a stressful movie to watch, because you have to memorize haircuts or you're doomed.
Yeah, no, you have to memorize characters by haircut.
You're like, Jake Sully has super dreads. That's how I know that's him. Thank God the new tribe has, like, a different skin tone. They're, like, all, like, cyan colored.
Cyan, and they have,
instead of, like, a deep blue with a lot of, like, tats on it. It really saves me being able to figure out who's on screen.
That helped so... If they had, like, the same the exact same skin tone as the ones from the first movie, it would be so fucking Jover.
Our ass was doomed. We still don't know the name of those kids.
No.
I just know the Sigourney Weaver kid, I think's name is Kitty.
Think?
And there's a white boy named Spider. That's what I got.
Yeah, I remember Spider, because his fucking name was Spider for some reason. I'm like trying to think of other things to say about. I feel
there was good violence. That was good. I'm sure you have something.
Okay. So I think my thing really is like, and I think of this a lot because this is like, I think a lot of MCU haters are like particularly like using this one's like, see, this is how you do big budget Hollywood like movies, you know. And like I'm saying this as someone who I don't think I've seen an MCU movie since like Spider-Man and before that Endgame, so I'm not like necessarily too tapped in. I feel like most MCU movies at least get the idea that their movies have to be like individually satisfying, while also feeding into the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's always the goal. Sometimes the core thing isn't strong enough, so then people kind of just pretend it doesn't exist. But it's like, sometimes it's like, oh, this is a bit more obvious, this is the connective tissue scene of the movie, that kind of thing. But what I will say is I appreciate that Wakanda Forever's climax was 25 minutes long.
That's great.
The climax of that was also against a tribe of water people.
Oh my god.
It was really funny that came out last month.
I guess just like that's been like the main thing I'm hard for. I was like, I just don't think that, especially considering that this is like the return of this thing after over a decade, I don't think this is necessarily like an individually satisfying movie, which to me is a bit of a problem when I had to sit on my ass and watch that shit for 3+ hours straight.
There's no real hook here for me for the next Avatar film, because it concludes with, alright, one of the sons died. They have now been accepted into this new tribe. The main villain survived. So I guess the main villain will attack them again, they'll move somewhere else. I guess?
Yeah.
But then Jake Sully said that's not what they're going to do. He learned that he cannot stop these people by running. He must, with his family, stay firm and fight them. But they're also making 7 of these movies?
Yeah, they're making 7 of these movies. I think like 4 and 5 are gonna be on Earth or some shit.
Yeah, they
I
at least confirmed that at least 4 is going to be on Earth. So I'm very interested in like how they're gonna move it, because there's not really any there aren't really any hooks here besides that a bad guy's alive. And
yeah.
it was really only his squad. I feel like in Avatar 1 it was like his squad and like the full force of Earth going against these aliens. And here it was just this squad and some whalers he picked up.
Like, the funny thing is, we know that like the full force is still there. They're still on Earth. They just get forgotten about after like the
they
first
establish
hour
a super base with like a new like head woman in charge who's like, all right, you take care of that, and then you never see them.
Yeah, like do you remember the one fucking lady in like the robot armor who like uses her robot arm to like fucking drink her cup of coffee or something? I thought she was gonna be like a major player, and she's just not in like 95% of this movie.
But when we watch Avatar 3 for our next spoiler cast, it's gonna be fucking great seeing her again. They're gonna like do that thing where they shake hands again with the robot hand.
That was kind of neat. I thought that bit was funny. James Cameron's idea of like a hook is just introducing shit, giving you no satisfaction at all, and you think, well, maybe the next one will have it.
They're gonna be like, people want to go back into this world again, and I'm like, yeah, but maybe in shorter bursts here.
Yeah, don't make it's just 3 fucking hours, man. Come on.
It is, man. I don't have a problem with a long film.
Oh, no.
Some of my favorite films of the year are touching that 3-hour mark. However, you must earn it, and you must not feel like you're getting lost. The Batman, I didn't feel like that. RRR feels like 18 movies at once, and at no point am I getting tired.
This was a movie from last year, but like I really loved how Dune handled that like super long runtime as well.
Yeah, I was also gonna mention that. I was thinking it in the theater where I'm like, what are long movies that I didn't have a problem with? And it was the stuff from this year, and there was also a Dune Part 1.
Yeah, like Dune is probably my favorite movie from last year. Like I don't have a problem with long movies. I feel like both too much and like too many things were happening, but not enough of them were of necessarily like a high amount of substance for me to stay invested for the entire runtime, you know?
Yeah, they're just kind of like, they're going through the motions, and eventually there's going to be a reason for there to be any like stakes or a problem, and it only really starts becoming real 2 hours into the film, which I don't think that was necessarily a good choice.
I don't think that was necessary at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a really mean comparison when I finished the movie, and I think this spoiler cast has only strengthened my belief. This is the Shenmue 3 of cinema.
Landy got away again. God damn it.
Fucking... That's what it feels like. When that guy survived, I'm like, fucking Landy just walked away again. Son of a bitch.
So for context here, the entire film is mainly our villain Quarch in his blue alien form now with the memories of the original version, causing problems, taking other tribes and putting them at gunpoint and torching their villages, using his essential human son as an interpreter the entire time. There's a question of like, does he really care about this guy? Can he really consider him his son? The climax happens where he has one of the children at knife point, and then Neytiri puts his son at knife point, and he finally, like, he cracks. And he just goes, fine, I'll stop. Release the children. They do their fight. He ultimately loses and is clearly about to drown under the water. He's passed out. And his son just helps him, and it, like, brings him back up and helps him survive.
Yep.
And it becomes this moment of like, oh man, nothing fucking happened in this movie. I'm very excited because I'm sure he'll have great lines in the next movie, but nothing really got achieved there.
Yeah, it feels like a movie where no progress is. Again, it's just a movie of promises. It's like, progress will be made, things will happen eventually.
Because the son doesn't really change fully. because you think, oh, is he gonna flip and like maybe would be with his dad? And he's like, you want to like get on this bird with me, son? And he leaves. so it's just like he did him one favor and then bounced.
It feels like this movie only got up to like the inciting incident where character development happens, but then the movie's over before the character development can happen.
Yeah, I feel like the younger brother has a bit more going on now. Nothing on the youngest child. Maybe some stuff with Sigourney Weaver's character and her like connection to the AI stuff. Nothing for the parents who were the core of the original film. I've got basically nothing there aside from Jake Sully going, I need to fight.
I need to fight.
That's really all I got from.
Which was like, it's essentially just like it's an art. This movie, like, and I say art.
Huh? It killed her. They had a really good point. We're gonna get it soon, okay? You best believe. Hello, chat. How you doing? This is our Avatar: The Way of Water spoiler cast. My great friend Bridget is been going through a lot. They had to watch a 3-hour and 10-minute movie today, and that puts a lot of pressure on everybody, right? It puts us through the ringer. What sucks is every like single little thing I wanted to say is unfortunately linked to them responding to it, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm watching this movie due to peer pressure tomorrow. I'm excited. Overall, I think the movie's like all right. I just feel like it's way too long. If you clip like 30 minutes for it, maybe I'd consider it better than the first one. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of like preferences going there. See, the movie would be fun to watch in VR. No idea. I watched it in 3D though. I believe Bridget also did. We'll probably talk about that if they could ever possibly return.
Am I back?
I didn't. Hello?
Hello. Sorry.
Okay.
My
do you remember what that point was before you died?
So basically, I feel like it's not so much disappointment I felt with this, just like I've never had a movie where I left the theater and felt little about it, but I was like angry about how little I felt about it. Where I just go, I watched something for 3 hours and I felt like I left with the exact.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they died again. Damn it! I just came up with an absolutely perfect analogy.
Oh, what was it? God damn it.
Okay. I have a really good equivalent of how this felt for you.
Yeah.
You know that part in Union Cross where they're in Agrabah?
Yeah.
What this movie is Agrabah.
I
thought you would appreciate that.
James Cameron really did make like the grand return to the most profitable movie of all time at some point in history. A shonen filler arc.
You know, sometimes you need to get that in there. Sometimes. I'm grateful over my trailers. I got to see the trailer for Barbie.
I didn't even fucking get Barbie. I'm so fucking mad.
That was like the second one I got. I didn't get the Oppenheimer Christopher Nolan thing. I guess because I picked 3D. They gave me a 3D trailer for the Mario movie.
Oh.
So the first 3D thing I saw was fucking Chris Pratt getting beat to death. It was pretty good.
I didn't get Barbie. I didn't get the Barbie.
You did not get Barbie. I got Barbie. I can't wait next year when I go, 1 ticket to Barbie, please.
Me too.
It's gonna be quite exciting.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to hit? Because I feel like I kind of.
No, I think that was pretty much it. So we're gonna close out by you giving final thoughts, and I guess you could score it like 1 to 10, because I'm gonna have to do that on my thread anyway. I'll let you lead.
That's fair. This is like... This is a movie that in any other instance would probably be like a 6 or something, where I leave it and think, this wasn't necessarily terrible, but I wouldn't want to watch it again. However, the runtime is such an actual detriment here that I have to lower it. It's a 5 for me. I have to score it at a 5 out of 10.
I'm in a dilemma here, where I'm looking at other films that I kind of felt the same way on. And I'm like, am I going to score this lower than Black Adam? That seems dangerous. I kind of think it's about the same quality as Black Adam.
Oh my god.
It would have been higher. However, it's so fucking long.
It's so long.
It's like you dumped a bunch of water in it. So it kind of, way of water. It fucking waters it down. Black Adam is exactly 2 hours. It got in and it got out, alright?
Yeah.
It had only one goal, which was to change the hierarchy, which it did. They are now apparently rebooting the entire universe. See, I'm gonna have to land on like a 7 here. I gave the first one an 8 for reference, chat, audience. Where I'm like, this is... the visuals here are cool. I like a couple of the characters, and I like the gratuitous violence toward the end. And I'm fine with them having an environmental-like story that's really basic, because, we get new one of those every, generation or so.
Yeah.
So it just becomes this thing of, kids are gonna watch this, and this is gonna be, their Fern Gully or their Pocahontas, etc. So I can't, I can't be like that person that's indignant of, it's this movie, and I'm like, yeah, this happens all the time. Things get reused. I will say, it was very funny seeing them advertise Shin Ultraman when I went to go see this movie. They were doing... We have a thing called Fathom events here where they're go to these specific theaters for the first English viewing of that movie.
That's crap. I wish I could have been watching Shin Ultraman in theaters, to be honest. I would have been done sooner too. It would have been great. I missed out on a really nice dinner. I missed out on a really nice dinner because this movie went on for too long. I'm kind of mad about it, to be honest.
See, this was such a great bit, and you are now fully free from Avatar until one of the 2 next things comes out. That Ubisoft game,
Is
or Avatar 3
going to be our continuing bit?
I feel like we have to lock ourselves in now. I've wasted 6 hours on Avatar in the last week.
Yeah, no, sunken cost fallacy has very unfortunately.
We are just dug in now. We got to get excited for Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I believe it's made by the developers of The Division.
Oh, no. Help!
Well, that's gonna do it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our spoiler cast on Avatar: The Way of Water. I don't know why we did
Back in my day, we would have beaten James Cameron to death with hammers, I tell you what.